Alright, back again. MacArthur's War, MSG Games. Um, just finished Enter the Dragon. Um, and I do have some corrections I have to make. Luckily, the designer of the game has been watching these video series and helping clarify some rules here. And this time, the problem isn't big enough to cause me to redo the whole thing, but it does bear going over, and we're going to have to do some tweaking here. So, and we can look at the escalation ladder to see it. It's different. We see here, let's take for example, we were previously in police action and one per PLA army mobilized. Okay. Now, if you go to the rules, what mobilization means, 9.2, it means basically the armies are standing up full strength and they're gathering. Okay. So if we were in police action, and at the beginning of the game, these three, see they have the yellow box here. These three Chinese armies were already mobilized and they were on the border. Now, during the police action, a previous escalation phase, if we wanted to mobilize more Chinese armies, and they would start out here on the China box here, that's where their mobilization point is, it would have cost us 1 VP. It wouldn't have made sense. Okay, well, maybe it would have, but the VPs are tight, so we don't want to spend them needlessly. But then, it would cost 1 VP to put in a Chinese army in China and then rail it up to the front. But it's still not in limited war entering North Korea. And we see this distinction now down here, 1 per PLA army. So you start in this one, all you can do is mobilize PLA armies, and they sit on the border, kind of getting them ready. But if you move to limited war, then this is when they can finally enter the scope, enter North Korea. And notice the verbiage changes from mobilized to actually 1 per PLA army. So in reality, previous turn from a VP point of view, the only VPs, because we were at limited war, there only had to be 3 VPs expended to allow these already mobilized Chinese armies to enter in here. Okay? These should not have cost any, and I think I mobilized, let's use the right term here, 2 of these armies. Looks like the 12th and the 26th. And I know these are add-on armies because they don't have that yellow at start here. So in theory, right now, basically what I can do is come back here, well, give the North Koreans, which they're probably going to spend, but give them 2 VPs back. So that would be 11. So it's all here. So they have 11 VPs. The other mistake I made is when Chinese armies that don't start on the map, only those 3 armies start on the map, they start here in the China box. So then they can move, literally, they could move off the edge here by foot and go, but they are allowed to rail move, unlimited range, outside of the scope of the conflict. And I think we saw that in the previous video. So, and once you've rail moved, you can't regular move, according to the rules. We saw that in a previous one too. So all you can do with newly mobilized Chinese armies that appear here is rail them as close as possible to the front, and then the next turn they can move in. So again, I made another mistake here. This is part of, this doesn't have the yellow box, part of the 26th Army, the big one with 4 armies. So he wasn't allowed to move. How am I going to correct that so that makes them even weaker? Let's see. That's not a lot, so actually probably do this. Pyongyang is the one. It's what gets the North Koreans replacements. Now in theory, well, we'll just leave it here. We've got the river line. These two units are very weakly screening things. So, I think now we are correct. But there is one other thing that comes up now. Here, in police action, it costs 1 per PLA army mobilized. In limited war, it costs nothing to mobilize a PLA army. So, what I'm going to do, and you don't have to watch me do this, is you can literally mobilize all of the Chinese forces in limited war and bring them all the way up to the border. It's only when the armies start crossing into North Korea that you start spending VPs. So with that said, what I'm going to do here, and I'm going to pause the video while I do it, is I'm pretty much going to mobilize all the Chinese and stack them up on these rail lines here. Except for the starting points, I believe, for these two units I can't do anymore. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, get them all on board and ready to move into North Korea if necessary. And then when we come back, we should be set up for the January 1951 UN turn here. So I'm going to pause here and drag some counters on and be right back. And now all the Chinese armies are mobilized. Because again, limited war, no cost for them to be mobilized. The cost will be when they cross and come into North Korea. And right now, the only ones that have done that are the 3 armies that were mobilized at the beginning of the game along the border. What these units can do, if they don't come in to North Korea right away, though, they can move within here and get closer to the border, get ready, and pretty much discourage MacArthur from trying to invade China, to be honest. That's a lot of armies there. Now, at Limited War 2, let's look at the replacements. The KPA get 2 because they still hold Pyongyang. If we had Nationalist Chinese at this point, we can pull them in. Yeah, they're already there. 3 divisions that can be pulled. They're going to cost 1, and they get 1 replacement. PLA gets 2. Republic of Korea, well, Seoul was retaken, so now they get 2. The UN, if I have any UN units in, which we haven't done yet, which, looking at this, it looks like UN units don't cost anything. They get 1 replacement, and then 2 US per turn. And the only ones we have to pay for the US are M and US. Can't do National Guard until we get to Asian War. Let's look at that. Yeah, here we have in the US, we have 2 airborne divisions we can mobilize. Here are some additional US divisions. I think these are the M's. I don't think GE. I don't think, well, we're not going to, well, maybe the airborne. At some point they can drop behind enemy lines. So, and we do have some UN units now apparently that can be pulled in. Here the UN, the British, UK, Canadian have an infantry brigade, Turks have an infantry brigade, and those are the 3 nationalist Chinese that are placed. So these are the UN units that can be brought in now. It looks like for no cost. Now how the USSR works is similar to China, but 1 escalation phase behind. These 3 divisions are mobilized and in Vladivostok, but they can't enter here. Because right now all the USSR can do is mobilize. So they could start mobilizing divisions maybe right here on the border for all we know. I mean, off board and then rail them here. But it's not until it gets escalated to Asian War that USSR divisions can start participating. So we'll see. So I think now everything is correct, but I'm sure I'll be informed if it isn't. Um, so what we can do now is move to the January 1951 turn. Now, yeah, the other thing the U.S. gets now, they get 4 air points. And we're going to roll for weather, but what we have to look at is the all-critical victory point situation. Now, with North Korea in the game and part of the scope, that's why they kind of got a bump in VPs. The U.S. still hasn't taken Incheon. They haven't moved into it. So they're going to get 1 victory point for that. And then, yeah, then the North Koreans will lose a victory point. So it is kind of tight. That's interesting. So let's kind of do the math here real quick. If I hide the pieces, let's say the U.S. gets as far as this. I don't think with all these Chinese they're going to get up here. So the U.S. can potentially add the UN, I apologize. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, 5, 6. So there's 6 points in play. So if they got all 6 of those at the current situation, the North Koreans would drop to, but they're going to have to pull in more Chinese, but it'll drop them to 5. And the Americans, who are at -1, 6 it'll be a tie. But the North Koreans are going to have to pull stuff in. So a viable strategy for the UN would be to capture here, if possible, and then dig in. And maybe, I don't know if they'd need to capture this one. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like I said, if they can capture here, the narrowest part of the peninsula, and build a strong defense against these Chinese, they may be able to pull off a bare victory here. Like I said, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just checking my math. So, oh, it's only 5. 11 from 5 is 6. And 5 minus 1 is 4. That won't do it. So they have to take this one. Without any other expenditures of VPs, the UN would have to get up here too. And that depends on the weather. But they do definitely have to take here and here. And to be honest, the North Koreans are going to have to burn some VPs just to get more Chinese in, because I don't think they can stand against these units. So, a lot of things to take into consideration. Alright, with that being said, let's go to the sequence of play, and missed the weather phase. But that's a big one. I got 2 Marine divisions in port, ready to invade on the off chance they can get the weather they need. Okay, going back to game charts, I keep doing this. Weather, we're in January. Wow. On a 1 or 2, an invasion can happen. Otherwise, it's snow and bitter. So, big roll. The UN hasn't had a chance to do an invasion. Yeah, snow, no amphib. Bitter, no amphib. No airborne units on, so that doesn't matter. No amphib on rain. So we're hoping for a 1 or 2. Alright, so big roll weather. Let's see what happens. Let's hide this here. Nope. Man, they're just, those Marines are just cooling their heels. Literally in the bitter cold here. So we're in bitter. What does that mean? 1 air point down. Everybody has 2 MP loss. That's, ooh, +1 DRM on all attacks. I gotta remember that. So that will affect everything here. So, looking at our here, we have 4 AP units, but we really only have 3. I think I can do a clone here. Yeah. So there's 3 air points available, which we could use for interdiction, but these units have to move by foot, and they're already lost 2 MPs. I probably don't need to use these for interdiction at this point because of the weather slowing things down. So, coming over here, escalate. Well, we're not, no. The Koreans did it for us, and we don't want to go to Asian war at this point. I don't see any advantage here. So we're not going to do anything in the escalation phase. Then we look at the air phase. I'm not going to do any interdiction like I said, so we're not going to do that. So now we get the reinforcement phase. And it's replacements at this point. And do I want to mobilize these units? Well, victory points are tight. Alright, so Seoul has fallen, and the Koreans now get two replacement points. So they can start building back their army. And I think we'll build this. Now, why am I putting them back here? Because of these potential guerrillas, I guess. Let's see what else we got here. Yeah, this guy. Yep, he's a full strength, so. And they have to be built on cities, and I'll just build them here. That's okay. Now the US gets 2, but everybody's at full strength right now, so there's none for that. Again, the victory points are tight, so I'm not going to spend any. What I could spend them on is, yeah, I have to, if I want nationalist Chinese, I have to spend. But I know I'll be corrected if I'm wrong, but at this point, I'm assuming since these dropped off, I can pull these units in. And UN arrives as replacement steps. Okay. There's 3. So my assumption there means they get 1 UN point so they can have this arrive as a replacement step, probably on any port. And if I only have 1, they start here. So I'll be corrected if I'm wrong, but that's how I'm interpreting that. The UN forces, since they arrive as replacement steps, and they get 1, and now in limited war also don't have to pay for them. So this is how we're going to do it. So yeah, they'll get 1 step at a time coming in. Okay, we'll build that up to full strength. So we are getting UN reinforcements, but wow, they're not comparing to these if we bring them in. Strategic movement phase. Again, we're not spending VPs here. We're not mobilizing these guys yet. These guys have to be partial strength. Yeah, that's a 10-8. Let's see what this guy is. Wow, he's a big unit if we get him. 16-8 at full strength. But we're not going to do any of them. So I think that's it. Strategic movement, nothing going on, no off-board conflict yet. So now we're in the movement phase. And now it's time to figure out what to do. The Marines, bummer, just can't be used. And they've only got 6 movement factors because of bitter cold. They could say it's road and go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They could get close, but they can't get in. So the attack's going to be done by these guys. So the question is, what's the best way to do this? This seems the strongest. This seems prime. It's only 5, and I'd have to tack across a river. These guys could do it. 1, 2, 3. Oh, I didn't place the 7th fleet. Obviously right there. I mean, I'm not going to waste them over here on this, so that's going to give me a nice odd shifts. Well, let's see. I want for both attack and defense. I mean, I could put them here. I think that's a coastal hex, so that's better. Okay. I doubt they're going to counterattack, but we'll see. So And supplies judged at the moment of combat. So I did look at this, and there's some cool stuff I can do because of the Zoc rules. Did I get... Is this guy weak? Oh, he's weak. Let's not build this guy yet. Let's put him back in eliminated units and make that guy full strength. Okay. Yeah, that makes more sense. This guy... Wait a minute, he was... Oh, we'll just make both of those full strength. My bad. Okay. So that's what they did their VPs. I didn't look. Okay, looking good. So I was going to do... What happened to that cav unit? Anyway, let's see. So they're down 2 MPs. So there's 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. Or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Alright, so I do want to use the furthest unit. The question is, where do I want to... I can crush one of these units, but which one do I want to crush? 1, 2, 3, 4. He's still got, so they can get here and do that, but then... And if he goes here, that's better. These guys will have to go 1, 2, 3. Well, the problem is, right now they can only get 1 hex of an attack on this, because they want to get here. Or I could try something. I could attempt an overrun. Alright, so if this guy goes here and I get a guy here, somebody can take here and somebody can take there. But somebody's going to have to cover the front or get him out of supply. Okay, this guy moves here. This guy then goes... Oh, that's not... Is that a good move? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No, let's put him here. There's a reason for that. Okay. He moves there instead. This guy can then go... well, maybe this guy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. He can't do it. This guy can go here. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Can't get there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So let's hide this again. Okay, the farthest back 10-8 is in Seoul. He can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And that's enough. So we'll let this guy exploit here. Effectively, this guy's out of supply now. So he's got a defensive 2, so we may attack him. Got 3 air points. But what I want to do... Oh, he's on a rough. That would be 1, and then I think you double the cost. 5, 6, 7. But if he overruns him, but then he can't be in the attack. Oh boy. Alright, let me check some rules here. Alright, there is a way I could finagle 30 points to attack Pyongyang, but then they'd be half to 15 with a +1 DRM, +2, and on 4 to 1 we could end up with an exchange, and that would be a mess. So it's probably better at this point to go for this guy and try and kill this guy too. So, having me with these two. Wait, that's good. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And with that zone of control, no. Okay, we want to put somebody here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He can't do it, so I do have to use one of the 10-8s. Use a cav unit, or we can use a back unit here. 1, 2. Let me hide pieces here. Oh, I don't know if that's a river. 1, 2, 3, 4. It doesn't matter. This guy will move here. And now these guys can go 1, 2, 3, 4. And that was my goal here, to get as far forward as possible. This guy will probably be used in this attack, and it looks like he's out of supply. They're both out of supply. This guy, 1, 2, 3, stuck. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He can go to the races here. But this is only 10. That's 2 to 1. That's 3 to 1. Maybe I can rack it up by a bunch of air points, or maybe I need to use him here with this attack. But he could go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and he'd be stuck. Now, what would be the advantage of going here? None. So let's go here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 5, 6. That's legal. So now it's time to run the odds. I think, well, what can he do? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He could get all the way up here. Let's take a look at that. Yeah, he could. No. No, let's threaten invasion. They're going to take roads and go 1, 2, 3. I don't know if he can go to Anana. 4. They're just going to move to Incheon. And that is 1 point. No, that's 2. Holy smoke. 1, 2. Yeah, they can do it. So that 1 point, that 2 points, takes the US to +1 and takes the communists back to 9. Okay, so things are tightening. That was a good capture, and they're set up for an invasion later. This guy will do the road thing and move 6. 3, 4, 5. He can't move adjacent. 1, 3, 4, 5, 6. I don't know. Where does he want to go? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No, he can just move here. He'll just move here. And I can look at this guy and say I got, oh, that's across the river, but I got 10 to 2. So I at least got 5 to 1 there. Let's finish the surroundment right there. That locks that down. This guy should be out of supply. Well, let's move him forward. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's a nice one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Sorry. 6, 7. So he can only go this far, but that's okay. Alright, so there we go. I think I've done all of the UN movement. I'm going to clear the move marker, and now we move into combat. And in this case, I've got 30. 30 against 5. That's a 6 to 1. That's a 7 to 1. Yeah, 30 against 5, or 15. I'm sorry. Against 5. That's a 3 to 1. That's a 4 to 1. We want better odds than that, so we'll definitely add this guy. Gets me to 1 odds shift. Gotta get that right too. Learned that air doesn't take it up an increment. It takes it literally up to 6 to 1. And he can retreat, so I don't know if I want to go further. This one is going to be out of supply, and this one should be out of supply. Alright, did some good reading here. 1 air point per combat, so I can't double up. So the question is, where do I need it? He's out of supply. Retained fraction 15 to 2.5. Wow, gotta do this math. 2.5. That's 4, 5, 6 to 1. I got a 6 to 1, but it shifts back to 4 to 1 because of that. So we'll do an error point. Oh wait, that's 20. Well, I don't know. Let's just not quite worried about a counterattack, so let's just increase our odds. And we'll work away from least to greatest. Yeah, these guys are attacking across the river. These guys aren't. Let me do that again. Yeah, so this may just be 15 to 2, which is 7 to 1, which is 6 to 1. And then this will counteract the shift for the rough, so it's flat. We'll be on the 6 to 1 column. Yeah, okay, 15 to 2 is 7 to 1, which goes to the 6 to 1 column. And then there's a shift for the rough, but there's a shift for the air combat, so we're holding at 6 to 1. So here we go, 6 to 1. Poof, 6, gosh. Well, DR, so I think we're okay. I need to check where he can retreat. He's got enemy Zocs everywhere. So I always have to play in too many games to remember the different rules, tweaks between them. Zone of control, combat, retreat. From the hex out to an adjacent hex from the battle. Units cannot retreat across full hex into enemy occupied or radioactive waste. Units can retreat into enemy zone of control hexes, but a step loss is incurred by the retreating stack if it is uncontested. So, not as bloody as we thought. Step loss, I'm going to assume he retreats here. Okay, this guy advances. So he's pinned. Okay, now all these guys, this is going to be overwhelming to be honest. He is out of supply, zones of control, and there are no rivers, so effectively 2.5. That's 2 to 1, 4 to 1, 6 to 1, 10 to 1, and that counteracts. So I think that's overkill, but that's the maximum column. So let's roll that. Ooh, 2, that's a kill. DE. Yep, definitely a DE. Let's make sure it's not just a flip like in another game. All defending units are eliminated. Yeah, I'm playing another game where DE means you flip multi-step units. You don't eliminate them. So that's a loss. That guy's used. Now, who wants to advance? I'll advance. Okay, so that's a pretty good line here. I don't know if they can reach for here. And then Pyongyang is the big one, which we're not going to get to this turn. And then we got 30 to 5, 15 to 5. I don't think there's any shifts. No, he's in supply. It's the same, so 15 to 5 is 3 to 1, is 4 to 1. Wait, it's 3 to 1, and then a column shift to 4 to 1 for the 7th Fleet, and then a column shift to 6 to 1. Yeah, that's the danger. There is no 5 to 1 here, so what I've been told, these shifts are column shifts. They're not odds shifts. So we start out at 3 to 1, and we get 2 shifts, so we're on the 6 to 1 table. 4. Oh, defender mauled. That's a nice one. All defending units suffer 1 step loss and retreat 1 hex. All defending units suffer 1 step loss. Well, guess how many steps these units have. And retreat 1 hex. Well, yeah, they're eliminated again. They were replaced, and now they're eliminated. And, oh, I didn't count this VP yet. We'll have to do that. And then this guy will advance here. Question is, do I want to advance more in there? I want to keep these two here so they're threatening. Actually, they're threatening to go to the races. If it goes here, he's not, so I think that's good, and we'll put 7th Fleet here. So, if I hide pieces, the UN picked up 2 victory points from here and here. So we'll come over here. They're in the positive again. That's 2 to 3 and 2 down to 7. So they're closing it. Another 2-point loss is what they need for a tie. And I don't think Pyongyang will deliver. Pyongyang will only deliver 1 point. And then that's it. So this is for the tie. I did include Incheon. Well, I'll check that later. I think I did the math right. Alright, so they used all their air points. And they picked up some points too, but yeah, they got to get more. There are the 2 air points. I mean, the 2 points, and if those 2 come, if the UN can take this and this, they've got a tie. Barring anybody expending VPs, which may happen. We'll have to think about that. Okay. Well, again, if you like this, please click like. I always do this at the end and not the beginning. And if you want to be notified the next time I post something, click subscribe. But that should end it here. The UN knows what's coming. They haven't overextended themselves like in real life. So maybe they can hold the line, but they've got to pick this up for the tie, and then they got to pick, well, they got the Marines ready, so they can invade anywhere. That could be the way to do it. So we'll see. Things are getting interesting. Again, thanks for watching, and this is the end.